Hello everybody and welcome to 1974 and Spain, the Jarama circuit. This gentleman here is the clerk of the course, the Count de Villapederma, and you know what he's doing? He's giving the drivers instructions on the starting procedure here. Like no drivers meetings. He went around individually to each driver and told them how he was going to start the race.
But I won't have you waiting nothing, because I know the nerves and I know that you don't like waiting for the clutch. Be sure. And when they say 30 seconds, I will get up with my flag. I will have always my flag up. And then at 15 seconds, you are my orders, and I give it immediately because I know how nervous you are.
15 seconds.
After 15 seconds.
Niki Lauda joined Ferrari in 1974. This is what he had to say about the car.
I drove in 73 after the season was stopped, and the old man said to Pierre, ask him how the car is. And I said, the car is shit. He said, the car is no good. And then the old man said, what did he say? A Ferrari is no good? Yes, it's shit, I said even then, to him direct. And then nothing happened for 30 seconds, and it was the longest 30 seconds of my life. And then he said, okay, Foghieri, who was the engineer in charge of at the time, if Foghieri fixed his car and he has to fix the car, how much can you go quicker? If the understeer is gone, I said, 3/10, maybe 5. If you don't go 5/10 quicker, you're fired. Why? Because you say the car is shit. You say, if you fix it, you can go 5/10 quicker, but if you cannot deliver what you ask me to do, then you have a problem. Goodbye. We did the first test, we were 8/10 quicker. So then my relationship with Foghieri worked out perfect. Ferrari was happy that I fulfilled my obligations. And I tell you, this was the first time where I saw, after we delivered, that he respected me.
This is the Jarama circuit. And yeah, it's still in use today, but not for Formula One. It's just outside of Madrid, actually. It has some cool corner names like Le Mans and Ascari. And this is a car that made its debut at this race, Chris Amon's car. And this is a Trojan car. No, it wasn't a condom car. And this cool-looking dude over here is Ricky von Opel. He made his debut as well. The car's lined up on the grid, and as if he was conducting an orchestra, the very animated Count waved the flag and they got going. Lauda was on pole, but Ronnie Peterson, he got a great start in the wet and stormed off into the lead from the first lap, from the go. There's Ronnie Peterson in his Lotus, leading the way from Niki Lauda through the spray. There was a lot of spray. It was pretty wet in the opening going, but it wasn't raining. So the track would dry off. As you can see here, Ronnie Peterson leading Lauda right up there with him, and they're slipping and sliding through there. And yeah, look at these fantastic 70s camera angles. It's not quite the coverage we have today. You can also see no grandstands and things like that. People just came and sort of stood around the track. Yeah, it was great. I miss those days. And going, you could camp out and then just walk around the track freely. Today it's all, it's like Golden Circle tickets, that kind of thing. So Peterson, he was in the lead and he was extending that lead, but you can see a dry line starting to emerge after about 20 laps. And yeah, as we all know, wet tires on a dry track doesn't work. But it was working for Lauda's Ferrari. He was starting to catch up to Ronnie Peterson as the guys started to come into the pits to change over to dry tires. Some of the guys further back were pitting a bit early and taking a gamble. Have a look at the pits. There's no pit lane speed limit. There's just sort of chaos in here. It's not the pit stops of today. This is Emerson Fittipaldi in the McLaren. But if this was today, if this was Oscar Piastri Orlando, he'd be out of there by now. So yeah, on the track, Ronnie Peterson, as they were going lapping a Tyrrell there, Ronnie Peterson, he was coming under fire from Niki Lauda. Niki had caught him up. So just want to point out here, there was no pit stop strategy. This is Lauda's teammate Clay Ragozzoni coming into the pit. There was no pit stop strategies. They were expected to run the whole race without a tyre stop or any pit stop whatsoever, unless you had a problem. But I just want to point out, even though they did have to stop for tyres in this race, Lauda, he overtook Ronnie Peterson on the track. He got the job done on the track. And as soon as he overtook him, Peterson started to fight back, but Lauda, he managed to pull out a little gap before he came in for his pit stop. And have a look at this pit stop. Can you imagine if this was today, Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc in the pits under this sort of chaos? Look at the man on the right. That's Lauda's chief mechanic. He's holding the car steady while it's up on the jack. There's no front jack. They jack it up from the rear and hold it up in the front. And they're just like sort of fiddling around. They only have one gun to tighten the wheel nuts there. So they're sort of running around the car with one gun. But like I say, pit stops were not expected. The cars were expected to start the race and finish on the fuel and tires without going into the pits at all. So this was not like a whole rehearsed routine like it is now, but very interesting to look back and see what was going on. Some teams didn't even have a wheel gun. But pretty soon the whole field had stopped, and we're back out on the track, and we had some retirements. We had some engine failures. Unfortunately, Ronnie Peterson did retire from an engine failure. Niki Lauda had kept the lead after his pit stop and just continued to lead the way from his teammate Clay Ragozzoni was up into second place. And of the debutants, it was the Trojan car with a Ford engine of Tim Schenken who went the furthest. He got 76 laps into the 84-lap race before he spun off. Chris Amon in his Amon Ford had a brake issue, lap 22. And Ricky Von Opel, his first Grand Prix in the Brabham, he had an oil leak and retired after 14 laps. Graham Hill was another who was a victim of an engine failure. Lap 43, the Ford engine in his Lola gave way. So the clock of the course would signal one lap to go by giving Lauda the finger. Yeah, okay, not that finger, but what great characters we used to have in Formula One. You don't find this nowadays. Nowadays it's all... it's just business, and then some celebrity waves the checkered flag. But Niki Lauda, on a now completely dry track by the end of the race, you can see he was just nursing the car home. And like we saw Niki saying earlier, he felt he had earned Enzo Ferrari's respect, but he hadn't earned him a victory yet. So this first victory in the Ferrari would be a very, very important one for Niki. And the clock of the course stealing the show one final time. Great. That man there jumping with his arms in the air, that is a young 26-year-old lawyer who had just taken over management of the Ferrari team by the name of Luca de Montezemolo. So Niki had brought the car home for his, and actually Luca de Montezemolo's first Formula One win. He was then congratulated by the clerk of the course and the King of Spain. And there's the finishing order. Emerson Fittipaldi managing third place, Hans Joachim Stuck, Jody Scheckter fifth, and Denny Hulme, the New Zealander, rounding out the points paying positions. The crowd stayed to be sprayed. And guys, that's where I'm going to leave this one. Hope you enjoyed Niki Lauda's first ever win, Spain 1974. Guys, we've got 90 odd subscribers. Let's see if we can make it 100. And leave in the comments whose first win you want to see next. And till then, have a good time all the time. Cheers.